Hello and welcome back to Alice Talks Football and welcome back to another live Manchester United news, transfer news update show on the channel. Also talking a little bit about the World Cup because England play tonight. Reportedly Rashford isn't starting. I'm a bit angry about that, but we'll get into that. Mbappe stole the show. We'll have a little bit of World Cup chat as well. But in today's video, we're going to talk about Jadon Sancho. He is not returning to the Manchester United squad at the moment. He was meant to go and play some games because we've got a couple matches this week. He's not returning to the squad. There's quite a few issues going on. We're going to talk about Sancho, mental health, extra training issues, all of that, the rumours, the news and reports surrounding that. There's also news coming out that, yes, both Gakpo and Joao Felix want a January move. We know that Gakpo and Joao Felix both want to leave their clubs in January, but reports are coming out saying both would be more than happy to join Manchester United from reliable sources. We'll get into the Gakpo news and all of that. And then we will touch upon new owners. Who's likely to be the next Manchester United owner? What is the news going about regarding new owners and more? So we'll talk about the transfers. We'll talk about new owners. We'll talk about Sancho. We'll talk about Rashford. But first of all, before I get into all of the news, people, I do want to mention that this video is sponsored by the OneFootball app. There is a link pinned at the top of the live comment section and a link right at the top of the video description to download the OneFootball app, which is completely free. And what I love about the OneFootball app is it keeps me up to date with everything football. I've got the website up here on my screen, as you can see. And, you know, I'm sure you guys just watched the France game. I mean, Mbappe, our new owners need to get Mbappe. I tell you that now. Mbappe steals the show as France make the World Cup quarterfinals. He was absolutely incredible today, killing Mbappe. And I tell you what, Wan-Bissaka and Tuanzebe, Gareth Southgate needs to be calling out Wan-Bissaka and Tuanzebe to throw up and pocket Mbappe because Harry Maguire's fucked. Now, he plays on the left wing as well, so Harry Maguire plays left centre back. So Carl Walker's got to play against Mbappe. The pace of Carl Walker, he's got to play, assuming England make it through versus Senegal. Mbappe is absolutely going to kill us. But the World Cup news coming out is reportedly that Marcus Rashford is getting dropped, which I just think is crazy. Rashford's apparently getting dropped, and we will talk about that. But going back to it, why I'm saying this video is sponsored by the OneFootball app is obviously you've got your World Cup news on the OneFootball app, scorelines and more. But as you can see, they've also given me the Man United move. Declan Rice, rumoured to Man United, wants to leave West Ham at the end of the season. Manchester United transfer news. Jamie Carragher, Ronaldo, all of the situation as well. Real Madrid targeting Marcus Rashford is a story going about. And I just wanted to say, do check out the OneFootball app to stay up to date on this news and all of that as well. But I want to go and dive right into the Jadon Sancho story, and I want to dive in to a lot of other stories. So we're going to get into that right now. But guys, how are you feeling for England-Senegal later? How are you feeling? Senegal will win England. Doesn't make sense, but I think you're saying Senegal will win. And hope Sancho can turn it around. There's a big talent in there. 100% agree with Alex B here. There's a big talent in there as well. Gakpo and Vlahovic would be very nice. I mean, put your score predictions for Senegal, England in. I am going to dive into the news, but it obviously is the big England game tonight. I think we will win. I think, you know, Senegal are missing Mane and some key players, but let's not underestimate Senegal. And one of the things I found this World Cup is I think this is one of the closest World Cups has ever been, because I think a lot of the teams that are losing to teams that aren't as good as them. And I do think the African teams have been very impressive this tournament. So have some of the Arabic teams. And I think that's because they're probably more used to the playing conditions. Yes, I know there's aircon in the stadium and all of that, but I think they're more used to the heat and the playing conditions. And also a lot of their players, you know, are having more of a rest than some of the top players. The top players are involved in a busy season and then are doing the World Cup. So I do think it's one of those where I actually think, you know, some underdogs have got a better chance this World Cup than any, just because of the timing of the World Cup and the environment of the World Cup. And I am fearful because I don't have a lot of confidence in Southgate, but I do have a lot of confidence in some of the England players. I do like Bukayo Saka. I do like Marcus Rashford. I like Harry Kane for England. I like Maguire. Declan Rice is a good player. Pickford always does his job. Shaw for England's always fantastic. So I think the England boys will pull through, but I do think we'll lose to France. But I'm excited for today's game, but I'm very disappointed to hear that Rashford has been dropped. I mean, if we go over to Twitter now, I understand why Saka would play because Saka's very good for England, but Rashford didn't do anything to deserve to be dropped at all in the slightest. So very upset that Rashford's been dropped. I just think, you know, he scores 2 goals out of nothing. He sets up the 3rd goal. When he came on as a sub, he scored. For me, I would have played Foden as a 10. I would have played Rashford on the left, and I would have played Saka on the right, with Kane up top, with probably Bellingham and Rice behind them. And then, Walker, Shaw, Maguire, Stones, Pickford. But, it is what it is. But Fabrizio Romano has given us a big update. In the next few days, Manchester United will internally discuss whether they want to sign a new striker. This is some of the news that's come in today from Fabrizio Romano. Man United discussing if they want to sign a new striker. In fact, Ten Hag wants to sign a new striker. Ten Hag is begging Manchester United to sign a new striker. So if Manchester United do not sign a new striker, it's because the board are fucking imbeciles. And Man United are in talks for multiple people. They have had talks with Gakpo and Joao Felix, so I'm pretty sure we are. Let's get the England win of 3-0 England. Yeah, everybody do get your England predictions in the chat. Smash a like. Also, if you want the Glazers out as well, and we want Gakpo and Vlahovic at United, and Southgate's the type of manager that will drop Pickford and put Maddison in goal to give him minutes. Southgate's just got his favourites. I feel like Rashford could have scored 6 goals and not started today. I still think it's absolutely mad that Marcus Rashford, I mean, it's all reports, it's all leaks as well, but I'm trying to find the leaks here. Let me zoom out because this is way too zoomed in as well. But if we go to Rashford here, reportedly, this is the news coming out on Marcus Rashford today, latest. Apparently, he's dropped Rashford. He's dropped Rashford. I'm trying to see if I can find the news that Rashford's been dropped. There's a leaked England lineup that's come out. I think this guy put the leaked England lineup out. I do want to get into the new owner news and the Gakpo news and all of that, but this is reportedly the new England lineup. And I know the source is Fogden, but Fogden has like a good English source because he actually literally said that Callum Wilson was getting called up instead of Ivan Toney 3 hours before it was released, and the first to say that. And reportedly today it's Pickford, Walker, Stones, Maguire, Shaw, Bellingham, Henderson, Rice, Foden, Saka, Kane. So for me, I don't know what Rashford's deserved to do to be dropped. Maybe he's injured. Maybe he's picked up a little here and there, or maybe Southgate plans on using him as a super sub because Rashford, I think, is very impactful off the bench. I'm not sure, but I think if Southgate's just dropped Rashford for no reason after the performance he just put in, I think it's a joke. Southgate reminds me of Ollie. He just absolutely has his favourite, Southgate. And that's what really annoys me about Gareth Southgate is just certain players will always play under him. Certain players are the favourites. But having said that, he's never shown much favouritism to Foden. I mean, Foden was good, but Rashford is better. I have to say this about Phil Foden. I do think he's incredibly overrated. I think he's a good player. I think he's one of England's best, most technical talents. But people are talking about Phil Foden like he's England's best player, saying he's England's best player, he's England's most talented player. He's not. Kane is. And, in an England shirt, Saka's been better than Foden. Rashford's better than Foden. And even Sterling's done better than Foden in an England shirt. Foden's very suited to Kane's system. Although I agree that Foden should be playing, I do think Foden is incredibly overrated as well. But yes, reportedly Rashford has been dropped, and I just think that's an idiot. And Jesus injured for a while now. Arsenal are looking at Gakpo, which is exactly what I wanted to talk about. 1-1, I go 1-0 Senegal if England started Saka instead of Rashford. I think if England go 1-0 up, they'll win the game. I say this with England. If England go 1-0 up, they'll comfortably win the game. But the thing about England is England struggle to break down teams. If Senegal go 1-0 up or it's 0-0 come 70th minute, it's one of them games. It's one of those games. England really struggle to break down teams. And my general thought process is if England go 1-0 up, they'll win the game. If England go 1-0 down, they'll struggle. Or if it's 0-0 going into the 60th, 70th minute, I think England will really struggle because we know that's what you expect with England. But I do think England will win. But getting into the Manchester United news, getting into the Gakpo news and all of that as well. Southgate is a joke of a coach. He is a joke of a coach. He can drop Rashford. It's just crazy as well. Ronaldo to Chelsea news. We will cover that in a second. And Mbappe will be another Pogba in the dressing room. Potentially. But I always thought Pogba was a good influence in the dressing room. I never believed the Pogba stories. But regarding Gakpo, so Gabriel Jesus is out for Arsenal for 3 months. And I think Gabriel Jesus being out for Arsenal for 3 months is a big miss for Arsenal. I really do think it's a big miss for Arsenal. And I do think Arsenal, who were linked to Gakpo in the summer, that were also the team interested in Gakpo in the summer, will do up their pursuit for Gakpo now. Arsenal could very much win the league. I think Arsenal are ready to spend in January. I think they've already signed some Ukrainian player, haven't they? And I think they're ready to go and get Gakpo just to increase the depth because of the Jesus injury. Now, Man United obviously in a very good position to get Cody Gakpo. However, we know if Arsenal come in and we know if Liverpool come in, Cody Gakpo could choose one of them over Manchester United, and that's what we've got to be careful about. United have to be, we've had contact with Gakpo. We know that Gakpo was disappointed didn't come. We do know from Romano that United have a very good relationship with Gakpo, and I'm still confident myself we will get Gakpo. But now Arsenal and Liverpool are really stepping up in the race for Gakpo, and we know Ten Hag really wants Gakpo. Do I trust the board? My question is, do I trust Murta and Arnold to go and deliver Gakpo first week of January like Ten Hag want? And no. And I have many reasons to say no. Richard Arnold and Murta were spotted in Barcelona. They never got De Jong. I don't trust Richard Arnold to do anything, let alone sign Erik ten Hag's #1 signing. I could literally say to Richard Arnold, here's a letter to post. You're walking past the post box on your way home. Can you pass the letter? I wouldn't trust him to post the letter. He'd probably forget. I can't trust Arnold or Murta with anything. And Ten Hag has very much said to them, I want Gakpo. The deal was very easy to do. Gakpo wants to come to United. Stuff was progressed last summer. It's all going to be done on Gakpo's side. Once Gakpo's out of the World Cup, we can move on this deal. Could you go and pay PSV the money they want for Gakpo? It will be worth it. Look, Martinez has been worth it. Casemiro has been worth it. I promise you Gakpo will be worth it. Ronaldo's gone. I need someone ASAP. Ten Hag is saying that to the board. He's saying, I don't want Gakpo end of January. I want Gakpo beginning of January. I want Gakpo to be playing in those January matches because they have a lot in January. And, now he's got to trust the board to do that. And the board will be looking at depay going, oh, but he's on a free. The board will be looking at people that are cheaper. The board will be looking at PR spins and excuses they can make. But ultimately, once Gakpo's out of the World Cup, we'll really know how serious United are or not. Ten Hag wants him. Gakpo wants it. The move is logical. We've had talks with Gakpo's agents, and the fact that Romano's confirmed that talks are ongoing between Man United and Gakpo says to me that United are going back in for Gakpo. But it's all about, will we give PSV the 40, 50 million they want for Cody Gakpo? Or will Liverpool come in with a better offer? And will Arsenal come with a better offer? And will we lose out on Gakpo to rivals? If we'd have got Gakpo in the summer, he would have been a bit less money, but we didn't. And all I think about is Richard Arnold and John Murta. And all I can think about right now is, if Richard Arnold and John Murta had done what Ten Hag told them to do in June instead of July, we would have got Anthony for 45 million instead of 85 million. And then we could have spent that 40 million less than 40 million on Gakpo. If we'd have got Anthony in May, June, like Ten Hag wanted, we could have then got Gakpo for about £35 million. And we would have got Gakpo and Anthony, if we got them earlier, for less than we paid for Anthony in August, if the board had done their job. But now we've got to go in for Gakpo come bloody January and pay more money than we would have had to in the summer. And this is an example of, we took all this time on De Jong, we missed out on targets. Martinez went up in price. We took all this time on De Jong that we never bothered to get Anthony until August. And we were never going to sign Anthony. The board were never going to give Ten Hag that attacker until they realised how much he needed it after the 4-0 Brentford loss. And I always just think, he needs Gakpo. It's such a logical deal to do. They must deliver. And I do have some trust in the board because we know from Fabrizio Romano that United are back in talks with Gakpo. We know there's talks and conversations ongoing between Gakpo's agents and United. So I do believe Man United are back in for Gakpo, but it's will the board spend the money? Sancho, we had talks with Sancho. Lots was going on with Sancho, but we never ended up paying that money for Sancho until the next summer. Now, I do see Gakpo as Bruno Fernandes 2.0. Oli really wanted Bruno Fernandes, but because we spent 80 million on Maguire, 50 million on Wan-Bissaka, we couldn't afford Bruno because we massively overpaid on Maguire and Wan-Bissaka. And then when shit hit the fan, we went and got Bruno in January. I think Gakpo's the exact same situation. We overpaid on Anthony because of board incompetence. Shit hit the fan, Ronaldo left. We now have to get Gakpo in January. We were going to get Gakpo in summer. I think if we didn't overpay on Anthony, we would have got Gakpo. Like if we didn't overpay on Maguire, we would have probably got Bruno that summer. I think it's very much that is the situation going on at Manchester United. Very much a Bruno 2.0 situation with Gakpo. However, because of Gakpo's insane form and World Cup form, although there are other teams in for Bruno, there's a lot of other teams in for Gakpo. There's going to be a lot of competition. Holland and Argentina in the semis will be standout quarterfinal, and England, France. I tell you what, if England win, we play France, and Holland will play Argentina. I don't know how I feel about Holland, Argentina, because if Holland get knocked out, that is the Gakpo move on the run. And I know it sounds horrible, but I almost want the Netherlands to be knocked out so we can just have them Gakpo updates coming in as well. But I want to get into Fabrizio Romano's update. We've got the England lineup on the screen. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and get the Fabrizio Romano update up here. And Fabrizio Romano just come out with an update today. And I'm going to trust that Central Devils has tweeted them as well. So this is the thing. Marcus Rashford is set to be replaced by Bukayo Saka. That was the Rashford news. That's where it was. But basically, Romano has come up with an update and he said, in the next few days, Erik ten Hag and the board will make internal decisions to finalise on a striker and right back in January. So United are linked to signing a striker and right back in January. And we obviously know that the right back United are reportedly going to sign in January would be Frimpong, but I don't see United signing 2 players in January. It was said here by Romano that Manchester United are internally discussing signing a new right back. In the case Wan-Bissaka leaves, and Dumfries and Frimpong have been scouted, and the latter price tag is around 25 million. Frimpong's really keen on the move. So we know that Frimpong really wants to come to United. We know for a while United have shown interest in Frimpong, but I think it's very much determined on if Wan-Bissaka leaves or not. We know Fulham and Palace are interested in Wan-Bissaka. However, if it's a loan, I don't think United will bring in Frimpong. However, if they get maybe 10 million for Wan-Bissaka, I think they would look to bring in Frimpong. My question is, I don't trust the board to bring in 2 players. I think that Ten Hag wants Frimpong and he wants Gakpo, and you think, okay, bish, bash, bosh, go do that, Manchester United board. Can we actually trust the Man United board to go out and bring in who Erik ten Hag wants? Will Gakpo get playing time at Man United? Most definitely. We're very thin in attack and he can play across the front three as well. And Jesus is injured for 3 months for Arsenal as well. Alex says United needs to just be proactive for a change in Gakpo. Dutch links, same agent as Ten Hag, and fairly easy path into our 11. Exactly as well. Someone said Gakpo's idol is Henry. I do worry about Arsenal, but I do think the relationship with Ten Hag and Gakpo might give us the edge as well. Mbappe to win the Ballon d'Or. I'd like Mbappe at United, but back to serious stuff. So I think the whole situation with Cody Gakpo in January, and as Daniel said, we should sign him, is, we know Ten Hag wants Gakpo in January. You also know Ten Hag wants Frimpong in January. Will United spend 70 million on Frimpong and Gakpo in January? I don't see it happening. Unless there's some sales, I don't see it happening. Wan-Bissaka, we can maybe get 10 mil for. I mean, Ronaldo, I guess we save 18 mil for. I guess we save about 30 mil, but a lot of reports are coming in that Ten Hag wants Frimpong, but I think Man United will be like, well, you're getting new owners in the summer. The new owners can go buy him for him and save us some money. I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't get Frimpong, because there's a lot of reports coming out that, Brandon Williams will be tested at right back in these up and coming games, potentially be back up to Delo. There's news that we'll just recall Ethan Laird. Basically, United are making up their excuses. Man United board are telling Ten Hag, there's Ethan Laird you can recall. There's Mark Gerardo, who's been brilliant for the under-18s, fucking under-18s, Man United board. And Brandon Williams, can very much be a right back in your system, even though he's played left back the majority of his career. Now, I do think that there's a Premier League level player in Brandon Williams. I'll be honest, I do think Brandon Williams is a Premier League level player, but I see his peak being Southampton, not Manchester United. I think he's a good young player. And I think that Ten Hag could definitely adapt Brandon Williams, and I wouldn't mind seeing Brandon Williams back up to Diego Dalot. However, if I could choose between Frimpong and Brandon Williams, I think I would obviously choose Frimpong. United reportedly going to try out Brandon Williams, maybe recall Laird, and not get someone in January, some sources are saying. So I think Ten Hag would like Dumfries and Frimpong, but I don't trust the Man United board to do it, because we know the Manchester United board is absolutely incompetent. I do want to get into the Sancho bit of the show, and then I want to get into the Joao Felix news, and then I do want to get into the new owner news regarding Manchester United. So I am going to get into that now. I'm just updating the news on my screen, just seeing if anything has come out here as well. No, just everyone moaning that Rashford isn't starting. But I saw something on Twitter that I thought was really, really interesting. I can find it here. So I do want to get to the Sancho news. But before I get into the Sancho news, I thought this was a really, really good tweet from United Faithfuls that I'm going to get into. Alice talks too fast. It's giving me a headache. I will try and slow down. And reality will hit hard after the World Cup. I believe we might need more than a striker to secure top 4. I agree. I think, depth, the game's coming up. I do think there's a good few positions that need addressing as well. And Mbappe to United, Apple as owner is the dream. I mean, look, Mbappe wouldn't even cost anything to Apple, which is just mad as well. But 25 million feels right for Leverkusen. Frimpong will hopefully move West Ham if we can get Wan-Bissaka. I think Wan-Bissaka would be good for West Ham. So, regarding Sancho as well, Alex, I agree with this. I'd prioritise a 9. Laird or Williams might be enough to cover to the end of the season. Yeah, I do think, I would choose a striker over a right back if we could only sign one player. And if it meant getting a 9 meant that, Laird and Williams would cover Delo, it's not the end of the world. Malacia could also play right back. But Delo's not extended his deal, which hopefully he does. So, United Faithful said this tweet about Sancho, which I want to read into before I get into the Sancho news, saying that Sancho losing his starting spot, watching Garnacho break through, and knowing Man United may sign Gakpo and not making England's World Cup squad by watching Saka and Rashford both bounce back for England. Sancho must be hurting. He knows his qualities and steps up. And, you know, I'm going to get into the Sancho not returning news in a sec. But it's true. Sancho is a really good player. He's had a big move to United that's not worked out. And the reason I'm confident in Sancho is because every now and then we see 2 or 3 games in a row where we see that Sancho. We see glimpses of Sancho. We saw it in pre-season. We saw it against Liverpool. We saw it when Rangnick first came in. We saw it a little bit in those games under Carrick. You know, Sancho's had the odd month or two where he's shown up, but he's not been consistent. And, you know, when he's not good, Sancho, he doesn't do anything. He has no impact on the game. And, you know, after the Euros, you know, Sancho, Saka and Rashford were racially abused by some uneducated morons. And that really affected them. You know, Rashford obviously was injured and it took Rashford a while to bounce back. It took Rashford pretty much a year to bounce back, get his confidence back. I think Rashford playing with an injury didn't help. You know, Saka, you know, bounced back very quickly. But I think with Sancho, you know, his move to England came at the same time as where he had a poor Euros and he was getting a lot of stick and he had to adapt to a new league. And then, you know, I feel sorry for Sancho. I think that he's been bullied. You know, I remember Sancho, you know, after 7 games, they were doing 007. No goals, no assists, 7 games. 7 fucking games. And I think he'd only started about 4 of them. You know, and they were just judging him and being horrible. And that's what you get when you move to Man United, unfortunately. As soon as you move to Manchester United, you're going to be a shit signing. But I absolutely hate it. As soon as Lisandro Martinez moves to Man United, they're like, yeah, he's shit. He's not. Jamie Carragher said, I don't think he'll be able to play centre-back in the Premier League. He'll play centre-backs in another league, but not the Premier League. Jamie Carragher was saying Martinez is too small. I don't think Martinez will work. People were saying, why the fuck are United signing Casemiro? You know, Graham Stupid Souness was saying, oh, Casemiro is a steady Eddie, blah, blah, blah. Why are United signing this player? Why are United signing that player? We signed Sancho. Everyone's saying, why are we signing him? Few iffy games at the start because he's just had an awful Euros and adapting to a new league. 007. Doesn't get called up for England. Ryanair are making jokes. He's like the laughing stock of the world. And when we know that Sancho is struggling off the field, he's got issues with family, he's got a lot going on off the field, and it's not helping because his form on the field isn't great and he's not happy on the pitch. You know, it's not nice because I think people are being horrid about Sancho and I don't like it. You know, I'm all for a bit of football banter. I'm all for saying Sancho hasn't been good enough. But then there's a difference between actually, this isn't nice now. This is an agenda. This is an attack. And I feel like he has been attacked a lot lately. I mean, even the Ronaldo interviews, there was the fake quotes and it's all a bit of banter in that. But, you know, it gets to the point where it's too far and he sits on social media and he sees that. And no wonder he's deleted social media. He's seeing Rashford's bounce back, Saka's bounce back. And he's not in the World Cup squad, watching his pals play where he should be in the World Cup squad. Garnacho is taking his spot. United about to sign Gakpo. It's getting harder and harder for Sancho. And, you know, what I will give and why I have so much respect for Sancho is because, 1, I know there's a good player there, but 2, I know that he's focused. There are reports that, you know, Ten Hag doesn't want him. Ten Hag's going to kick him out. There's reports that Ten Hag said that he's got an attitude problem. There are reports that Sancho's got an attitude problem and there's issues going on. I think there's probably distractions in Sancho's life that means he's not playing to the best he can. But I know with Erik Ten Hag, if Sancho had an attitude problem, Ten Hag would come out and say it. If there's, you know, that's what he did with Ronaldo, that's what he did with Garnacho. Ten Hag would come out and say it. Instead, you know, all we're hearing about Sancho is he's deleting social media because he wants to focus on his football. He's gone to the Netherlands under Ten Hag's recommendation to do an intense training course with top Dutch coaches. He's very focused on getting back to his best, and I really hope he does get back to his best. And it really winds me up, the treatment of Sancho and people. 312 people watching. So as Daniel says, for the best Manchester United news and live news and watch-alongs and match reactions, do subscribe to Alice Talks Football as well. I do apologise, there's not been much World Cup watch-alongs, but I'm just stupidly busy. But as of next week, once I've got all my assignments in and got some other work projects done, I will maybe do some watch-alongs if England is still in the World Cup in a week as well. And Sancho had some attitude issues at Dortmund with commitment to training, etc. Hopefully that's not come back again. I agree. I think there's times where we do know from England as well, like his timekeeping hasn't been great. He's not always been the most committed. But I think, you know, Erik Ten Hag is a player that, you know, he has very high standards. And if he sees someone who's not 100% committed or working hard, he will call them out on that. And I think the fact that Sancho has gone over to the Netherlands to do some intense training to try and work back on getting to his best, I think is a good sign. I think if there was real issues going on, I think Ten Hag would have made that public. And I think maybe Sancho's had some distractions. Maybe Sancho isn't playing at his best because there's a few attitudes and maybe he's been late for training. But I feel like from what I'm hearing, Sancho is working really hard to get back to his best. And I really do hope, you know, we do see Sancho back at United soon. I'm disappointed that Sancho is not with the squad. He's not travelled to Spain for those 2-3 matches we're going to play. I am disappointed to hear that, but I hope he'll back to his best. And Sancho is class and he will come back better. Sancho needs to focus on hard work and what he's doing exactly. And the reason I believe that Sancho will come back is I just think of Rashford. Look at Rashford a year ago. Look at Rashford 6 months ago versus Rashford now. Compare February Rashford to Rashford now. You know, it could imagine. You don't know what Sancho will be like at the end of the season. We could be sitting here in the summer. We could be sitting here in June. Season's over, top 4, and Sancho scored 12 goals and been fantastic. You know, I always say, you know, look at Rashford in February and look at Rashford now. And I believe, you know, Sancho's 22. We know what he can do at Dortmund. He's shown aspects of it at United. Ten Hag's a good manager as well. I thought about with Marcus Rashford. You know, Marcus Rashford's a different player than he was 6 months ago. I think Sancho in 6 months' time could be in a very different position. And I'm going to get into the news on Sancho here. And I think, you know, what we do know about Sancho is he's not in. So Sancho is continuing his individual training as part of his process to get back to the highest level and will not travel with the squad to Spain. And it was reported by Samuel Lucas that Sancho is not returning to the Manchester United squad. He's not returning to main training with Ten Hag. In fact, he's staying to focus. So Sancho is not in the Manchester United warm weather training camp. Clubs say he's continuing individual training program and effort to return to his highest level. And Sancho has been training in the Netherlands with coaches recommended by Ten Hag. So Sancho very much focusing on himself. And what I do want to say, and I don't like to speculate, is I do think Sancho missed 6 games through illness. Sancho missed a good 3 weeks through illness, and not many illnesses keep you out for 3-4 weeks. Injuries do, but not illnesses. And I do think, you know, not that it's any of our business, and I do think there's been problems going on off the pitch for him, but I do think there's more to it and more to why he wasn't involved those last 6-7 games of the season. Because Anthony was injured, but Sancho was ill for 4 weeks, and you know, for me, you know, I think there was more to Sancho being ill for 4 weeks. I think there is something going on off the pitch with Sancho. He's not returning to main training. He's, you know, he didn't play for like the last 4 weeks of the season through illness. He'd not been seen around a lot. I think there's something going on with Sancho, but I think from what we're hearing, he seems very focused to get back to his best, to, you know, doing the warm weather training and all of that as well. Someone said Prison FC, my guess. Let's not guess things like that. That's a horrible thing to guess. And also Jadon, a young player who came into a total mess of a first season with us, could have affected him. Exactly. He's very young and it was a very unsustainable squad that he went into. I just want to say something because someone brought up Prison FC. Not every Man United player that has issues going on off the pitch is going to be accused of raping their girlfriend. Like, let's put this into context. Garnacho is posting pictures of him and his girlfriend and everyone's going, no, he's going down the same route as Mason Greenwood. Do you know 90% of 18-year-old boys that are good looking with a lot of money that play for Man United probably get a girlfriend at 18? And 99% of them aren't going to go and rape them. Okay, so whenever Garnacho posts a picture, all the comments are people worried he's going to be like Greenwood. And Greenwood starts trending. And I just think, for fuck's sake, like, let's not worry about that kind of thing. Marcus Rashford has turned out to be an absolutely fantastic human being. My friend did actually mistake Rashford and Greenwood, though. She was saying our favourite footballer is Greenwood because he helps kids. And I did think, oh, God, because, you know, she said that to a group of people. But what I'm trying to say is, you know, when Garnacho posts a picture of his girlfriend, I don't get why people relate it to Greenwood. Or when Sancho's having issues off the pitch, why are people relating it to Greenwood? Greenwood is a 1 in a million footballer that got a lot of money, got a lot of power, and has completely messed up his career because he's an idiot. But not every Man United player is gonna turn out like that. You know, not you know, Rashford hasn't. He's turned out to be a wonderful human being. Saka's turned out to be a wonderful human being. They're young players with a lot of money. So if Garnacho's posting pictures of his girlfriend, can we not comment Greenwood on them? But Garnacho doesn't want to be compared to that. So I just think, you know, I just wanted to address that. Really winds me up when people do that. I just think it's got nothing to do with the whole situation, has it, as well? Yeah, the thing is, 300 grand a week. That's the thing. I do think giving Sancho 300 grand a week was just craziest thing. And I think Garnacho's smart enough to see what happened with Greenwood. See what happened with Greenwood. Use him as an. Well, I'm glad I didn't read out that full comment. But I think with Garnacho, there is reports of Garnacho attitude problem and all of that. But I think, you know, Ten Hag said, you know, Garnacho was a young kid. He was late for team meetings in pre-season. There was a few issues at the start of the season. But we know from Garnacho that he's working really hard. And what I will tell you about Ten Hag is Ten Hag will not play you if you're not working hard. Ten Hag will not start you. Ten Hag will not play you. Ten Hag will not give you any time of day if you are not 100% committed, focused on working hard and training. And I know with Garnacho, there was issues in pre-season with his commitment being late, and Ten Hag addressed that. And Ten Hag said he's a young kid, they all mess up. He's been brilliant in training. He's putting extra work in now. He's working really hard. And look, he's paid off for it. And what I like about Ten Hag is he's very much disciplining all the United players. Sancho is having a tough time, but Sancho has gone to the Netherlands on an intense training camp recommended by Ten Hag to get back to his best. Rashford's got back to his best. We've seen a new level in Delo. Martinez, Casemiro, Antony coming in, brought some new mentality, new passion, new attitude. Garnacho's revitalised. There's lots of positives going up as well. Man United are looking at Denzel Dumfries, is news coming in as well. And the England lineup has been released, people, as well. So I read out the England lineup. It is the leaked lineup. Marcus Rashford does not start for England, people. Jordan Pickford's in goal. Kyle Walker and Luke Shaw, the fullbacks, with Stones and Maguire in defence. A midfield three of Rice, Bellingham and Henderson, with Kane, Saka and Foden as a front three. So unfortunately, no Marcus Rashford starting as well. And Sancho, I think, will get back to his best. I think that Sancho is working really hard. And Alice, do you want Ronaldo to win the World Cup? Like, yeah, if England don't win it, I'd like Portugal to. For me, if England don't win the World Cup, I want Portugal or Brazil to win the World Cup, purely because both of them have got 3 Man United players. Well, 2 now, Delo and Bruno. But Ronaldo was a United player at the start of the World Cup. And Brazil have Casemiro, Fred and Antony. So my thought process is, when England aren't playing, I support whoever's got the Man United players in. I'm Man United over everything as well. And we have been linked to Cunha, but I'm not sure about Cunha. Yeah, I'm not sure about Cunha either. And with Rashford on the bench, it guarantees that some games will have goals later in the game. I think Rashford will come off as a super sub as well. And Greenwood is innocent until proven guilty. True, there is innocent until proven guilty, and he's not been proven guilty. But, we've all had the voice notes. And it's difficult to forget them, I think. And that's why a lot of people will make assumptions off the voice note, which we shouldn't be doing. But when you hear those kind of things, it's hard as well. And Sancho looked good in Germany, yet recent German quality seems to be lacking moving to the PL. Look at what do you call it? Look at Werner. That, and Lewandowski can't do it on the international stage, but can do it in the Bundesliga. I mean, that German league is crazy. Argentina all the way for Leach. Leach has saved it. You know what? I'd have loved Argentina or Australia to go to extra time. I would have loved it. It would have been fantastic. Lisandro Martinez absolutely saved Argentina, people. Absolutely saved them. Guys, I just want to throw out that this video is sponsored by the OneFootball app, by the way. There is a link in the description and a link pinned in the chat down below to go and download the OneFootball app. It's completely free. And if we go over to the OneFootball app now, it will keep us up to date on all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, updates and more. But obviously, it's got the World Cup news here. It's all about Mbappe, the France games coming in here. If you click, there's a World Cup section. They're talking about the Senegal, England lineups, all the news surrounding the World Cup. But, we've spoken about the World Cup. We want to hear about Man United. What's going on surrounding Man United? And all of that as well. Varane makes a goal line clearance just like Martinez at the World Cup. It is the Ten Hag World Cup. It's the Man United World Cup as well. Declan Rice moved to England and all of that. So do go ahead and check out the OneFootball app. Completely free. Link pinned in chat and bio to do that. But I do want to get into the Joao Felix news because I've just realised I'm like half an hour into this live stream and I haven't really got into the Joao Felix news. There is news that basically Joao Felix wants the Manchester United move coming out from good sources. So I am going to quickly address that. But as you can see, Marcus Rashford is on the freaking bench, people. I'm absolutely fuming. I can't believe he's not starting. But I just tweeted here, Mbappe wasted in the French league, and I've told him to come to United, people. So hopefully Mbappe listens to me. But we will get back into the news as well. I mean, Kylian Mbappe is absolutely insane as well. This was some news, by the way, on Cody Gakpo. Before I do get into the Joao Felix news, they're breaking. Manchester United are ready to sign Cody Gakpo in January. PSV open to sell for 50 million. There's belief a deal can be done as soon as the January window opens, as Gakpo has assurances he will be allowed to leave if the asking price is met. So it has come out from a reporter from The Sun, so it is a pinch of salt report. But this report aligns with everything everyone else is saying, and that was a report on Gakpo. But I do want to scroll down and get into the Joao Felix news. There is obviously the Moises Caicedo news here. Has been confirmed by a good source, Nico, very good source actually, that United want to buy Moises Caicedo for around 60 to 70 million. So I think Moises Caicedo to United is something, guys, to definitely watch out for in January. Definitely watch out for in January. And Mbappe better listen to Alice. Exactly. And we could have got Gakpo for 35 million, but, we're used to United doing that as well. And the One Football app is a fantastic app, people, so check it out. And guys, we're 8 likes away from 100 likes, so I don't know why people aren't hitting the like button. 8 likes away. Moises Caicedo annoys me again. This is another person that we could spend 60, 70 million on, when we could have signed him for 4 million when we first scouted him. But that's our karma for not buying people in January. But Matt, I think United will pursue or look at Moises Caicedo in the summer. I think they really will. But I want to get into the Joao Felix news. So Malacia, which is a tier 1 source, this is a really good source of information, in my opinion, has spoken about Joao Felix and the club's in for him. And Jorge Mendes has informed Atletico Madrid that Joao Felix has offers and is going to leave the club in January. Among the options are United, Chelsea and PSG. So a tier 1 source is coming out and saying that United, Chelsea and PSG are the teams in for Joao Felix, and he has had offers. We also know that Joao Felix, and it's been confirmed by reliable sources, that Joao Felix wants to leave Atletico Madrid. It's been confirmed Joao Felix wants to move. It's been confirmed Gakpo wants to move. And it's been confirmed that Man United are both in for Gakpo and Felix. And it's been confirmed that Gakpo and Felix will be happy to move to United. It's also been confirmed that Gakpo and Felix will be happy to move to 2 or 3 clubs. They haven't picked United, but what we do know is Gakpo will be willing to come to United and Felix will be willing to come to United. Among other clubs. So if United do sort something out with PSV or do sort something out with Atletico Madrid before the other clubs, there's a strong success rate of the players wanting to come. But it seems it is between United, Chelsea and PSG for Joao Felix. And the only thing with Felix is, although he likes the move for United and it's been reported that he would want to come to United, we've also got to compete with Champions League clubs. And while Joao Felix would want to come to United, would he want to go to Chelsea more? And all of that as well. I don't know. A lot of people saying, what is the thought process behind not starting top scorer Marcus Rashford? And I tell you what, Southgate, there isn't a thought process. We're 0-0 against USA. Let's bring on Jordan Henderson. But I think Rashford will come off the bench and be absolutely fantastic. Okay, I do. Alice, our board is rubbish. Understatement of the century. Rubbish is a nice way to describe our board. I think they're a lot worse than rubbish. But you are very correct with that. And Felix is overpriced and overrated. I do agree somewhat here with IQ and say, I think there's a good player in Felix that hasn't reached his full potential. And that, I think, a big reason behind Felix not reaching his full potential is because he's at Atletico Madrid, playing in the defensive Atletico Madrid system. I think that has a big impact, and that's a big reason behind Joao Felix not reaching his full potential. But I think another reason Joao Felix might have not reached his full potential is maybe he isn't as good as we think. That is the thing. And I think with Joao Felix, I think there's a good player there. I see quality in him. I do see a really good player in Joao Felix. But I do go, this is a good player, but he's not a great player. And he will either be a great player or he either won't be. And, that's a very obvious statement to say. But I think with Joao Felix, he's someone that I wouldn't want to spend 80 million on because it's very hit and miss. He's not done enough to prove he's worth 80 million. A lot of it's about potential and what he's shown in the past, not what he's shown recently. And I like Joao Felix and I like Jude Bellingham. And I think Jude Bellingham's proved it more than Joao Felix did. Jude Bellingham is better than Felix. But they're 2 players that I like, and I think that they are good for their age. And I think Jude Bellingham especially is good for his age. I think he's a lot better than Felix. But I wouldn't want to spend something crazy on them because I don't think they're established enough. I'd rather go for someone that is like 24 years of age, pretty much going into their prime and looking for the step up in their career, rather than spending 100 odd million on Joao Felix because of potential and wasted potential and all of that as well. Alice, Chelsea is signing Christopher Nkunku from RB Leipzig. They are, which makes me feel like we're more likely to get Felix, but you just don't know with Chelsea. They just get everyone because they're good at transfers. And Bellingham's a player to sign, I agree, but I wouldn't spend more than 100 million on him. I do think he's a little overpriced, but I think Felix is overpriced and overrated, but I still think Felix can be good as well. And I do think there's a good feeling in Joao Felix. Good player in Joao. Good feeling in Joao Felix. Good player in Joao Felix. Fat4, interesting name, says, we will get rid of the Deadwood and Jan. We want to get rid of Wan-Bissaka. I know that for sure. I know that Ten Hag wants to get rid of Wan-Bissaka. I think summer's when the Deadwood will go. Phil Jones will go in summer. One of the goalkeepers will definitely go in summer. Fred's contract hasn't been renewed. Shaw's contract hasn't been renewed. Delos's contract hasn't been renewed. Bailly, Telles, Williams, maybe Tuanzebe, Jones, they're all going in the summer. I tell you, that's a few players that will be going in the summer. I guarantee you with that. I don't know about January. We want to get rid of Wan-Bissaka in January, and I know Fulham and other teams are interested as well. Apparently, Sterling's not available for the game against Senegal because he's dealing with a family matter. So my thoughts are with Sterling. Just a shame to see Marcus Rashford on the bench as well. Apparently, Poland were playing Lewandowski as a right winger. I only watched the first half, which I think is crazy as well. And maybe in June he's playing Felix central, not 9. I think if Felix came to United, where would he play? Probably centre forward. But I think the thing I like about Felix is he could play Bruno Fernandes's role as well. I support England, but don't underestimate Senegal. 100%. 100%. I think, although Senegal don't have some of their best players, a lot of their players have more rest before the tournament, more time to organise themselves. I think they're more used to the playing conditions, Senegal, with Qatar, and, playing at this time. Senegal, I know they don't have Mane, and they're missing a few big players, but they are a good team, Senegal, aren't they? They are a really, really good team, and I do think United have got to be careful 100,000,000% in that Senegal game as well. Getting Dumfries is fine. Not a very big fan. I think Dumfries is good, but he's one of them players that's really good at tournaments, but is okay at club level. And we already have that in Maguire and Luke Shaw. We've already got 2 defenders that are really good in international tournaments and okay at club level. And I think we brought Maguire a lot because of his England form. And we spent all that money on Maguire because of his England World Cup form. And he's not replicated that. And I think Dumfries is one of those where you'd have to pay more than he's worth because he's always good in the World Cup. But I think he's average for club as well. Gakpo will be the striker we sign. I hope so. I believe so. But you don't know. I want to actually... I've got some more news to get into, but I do want to get into the World Cup. Not World Cup, SofaScore. I just want to get into the World Cup sort of thingy here. Let's have a look at the World Cup scores, people. So, as it stands, Argentina will play the Netherlands and France will play the winner of England, Senegal. So if we look at the knockouts here, as you can see, this is the thing. So, on England's side, if England win, they play France. And if England play France, I'd assume they'd play the winner of Portugal, Spain. I'd assume that. I don't know for sure, to be fair, because Portugal might lose, Spain might lose. But I do think it will be a Spain-France quarterfinal. I think it'll be a Spain-France quarterfinal here. And I think that Argentina and Brazil will be in the semi-final here. So I think Argentina, Brazil semi-final here. France, Spain semi-final here. And I think Brazil, Spain final, I'm thinking. But I do hope England win if we look here as well. But the Senegal lineup is Mendy in goal, Koulibaly. They've got some decent players, but the big miss is Sarr's a good player, to be fair, but the big miss is Mane as well. Is Idrissa Gueye from Senegal or not? Where's Idrissa Gueye from? I always thought he was from Senegal. The Everton PSG guy. Does anyone know where he's from? Is he from? I always thought he was from Senegal, so I'm surprised he's not playing. But this guy was on a Rising Ballers or something. This guy was a good player. But we'll go back to the news. We've got a few more things to talk about. We want to talk about new owners. That's what I want to get into. I want to get into the new owner news regarding Manchester United. And also, this is my wish list of transfers, people. Not a reasonable ask. But I said to the new Man United owners, whoever you are, please deliver Vlahovic, Mbappe, Enzo Fernandez, De Jong, Diogo Costa this summer, and assuming that Gakpo comes in thing. Gay is injured as well. Yeah, but he is gone. I think he's a good player. I would like United to go for him, but we got Casemiro. I have to say, I know I'm waffling here. I am absolutely so happy we got Casemiro. He is so freaking good. I honestly, I just look at Casemiro for Brazil. I look at him for United. Everything I hear about him, I rewatch games for Real Madrid. Man United have signed a fucking gem in Casemiro, and Real Madrid want Casemiro back. Real Madrid is sitting there thinking, why did we let this guy go? Like, Real Madrid actually are regretting selling Casemiro. But I'm loving him. I love Casemiro, people. I am in love with Casemiro. I need to stop going on about Casemiro, but I am absolutely in love and so happy we signed the guy. Southgate is useless. He might play 7 in the back against Senegal. Wouldn't be shocked. And Maguire and Shaw are not suited to 10-hour football. I think Shaw's been playing quite well lately. And I think there's potential for Maguire to adapt, but I think Maguire long-term isn't. And Casemiro is class, but we need more in that position. 100%. And I think that's why we're looking at pursuing Moises Caicedo. But people, getting into the news story. So, new owners. What's going on regarding the new owner front at Manchester United? Will Manchester United be signing? Will Manchester United get new owners? And what is the situation? Why is it gone quiet? And all of that as well. So, I'm going to give you a little update regarding everything you need to know about new owners. It's obviously very quiet at the moment, and the reason it's quiet is because there's negotiations going on. A lot of people that are interested in Manchester United don't want to go public with their interest. You know, Dubai are being very quiet, but we know they're interested. Jim Ratcliffe, he's probably been the loudest of all the people interested. We know he's interested. We know there's talks going on with multiple American companies. We know there's 5, 6, 7 companies interested in United, and Fabrizio Romano has confirmed that Manchester United are having talks with potential new owners and investors, and that things are ongoing. A lot of people in talks and deals with United have been forced to sign non-disclosure agreements, which means the details of what's going in and about can't always be released. But we do know from good, reliable sources that people are in talks to buy Manchester United, and Simon Stone said that he expects that the sale would be done before the end of the season and likely to happen in spring. Now, for the January transfer market, it's believed that we will still have the Glazers involved. We'll still have the Glazers overseeing the January transfer market, which is annoying, of course. But the belief is that the Glazers will go. The belief is that there is talk ongoing, the Glazers will go, and while it's quiet now, we can literally wake up tomorrow morning and there could be a big story. With the Glazers leaving, I don't know if it's going to be Apple, I don't know if it's going to be Dubai, I don't know if it's going to be Ratcliffe. If I was to put money on it, from what I'm hearing, it's between a US investment company and Dubai. I don't think there's the funds to outbid them. We don't have confirmation Apple is interested. It could be a PR spin by the Glazers. From what I'm hearing, it's between Dubai and a US investment company to win Manchester United. But I always say this is the thing. It could be quiet for a couple more weeks. It could be quiet for a couple more months. But I think one day we're going to wake up and boom, there's some news that's just going to come out in the space of a couple of days. Out of nowhere, some news will drop. And that news might not be good news. That news might be the best news we hear in our lifetime as a Man United fan. It could be that the Glazers are gone with brilliant new owners that are coming in to spend a lot of money. It could be that the Glazers are staying because they found an investment that's going to give them the money while giving them the power. With the Glazer situation, we know from Romano, Simon Stone, The Athletic, all the good sources in and around United, people are interested. There's talks ongoing. A full sale is likely, and a full sale is likely before spring. So don't, just because you're not hearing anything this week, don't worry about it. It's a long process, and there will be new owners coming in, and it's a big deal to happen. It's a long process to do as well. I love Casemiro. He is the best in the world, absolutely. And Frankie de Jong is completely out of the picture, isn't he? He said he wants to play Barcelona for the next 10 years, and the club seems to have come to terms with him staying. I don't know. I think if we get top 4 and new owners in summer, Barcelona still want to sort of push their players out. I do believe there's a possibility we will get Frankie de Jong, although we might not want to leave Barcelona. You know, the amount of times a football player said, "Oh, I'm going to be here the next 10 years," and then they actually don't end up being there. You know, I still believe there's a strong possibility. Not strong. I'm not going to say strong. I believe that de Jong next summer we will go for him because I think he just completes that midfield. He completes the picture of the midfield, and I think that Frankie de Jong he's just such an incredible player. But I think a lot of it's dependent on top 4 new owners and Barcelona's stance, because I don't really think Barcelona want him. They've got Pedri, they've got Gavi. They're not that interested in de Jong, and you know, maybe de Jong's a mug and he can't like. De Jong I said this about de Jong in the summer. De Jong is that guy that can't go over his girl. You know, like when this guy is with a girl and she treats him like shit and she cheats on him and she fools him around, but she knows he'll always be there. De Jong is that guy that will like have a girl and she'll treat him like shit and cheat on him, but he'll always be there and he'll always take her back. And Barcelona literally went behind de Jong's back, negotiated a deal with United, said that de Jong was for sale behind de Jong's back without consulting him, literally leaked details of de Jong's contract and treated it absolute shit, so they didn't want him with death. They were trying to force him out, leak details, try to sell him without his permission. And de Jong's like, yeah, I want to be the next 10 years. De Jong is just that like guy that can't get over that, you know. That's how I kind of describe the de Jong situation as well. Regardless of England win tonight or not, they will be knocked out against France. Simple as that. Let's get the Premier League started. I agree. I'd love us to shock France. The one thing I will say about France is France don't have that good fullbacks. And they're like good FIFA fullbacks. I think they're overrated. But if you actually look at France FC, for me, I look at this now, and if you look at France's lineup today, I generally believe Rashford versus Koundé at right back will cause them some problems. Koundé was getting cooked today, and I also think that Theo Hernandez versus Saka will cause them some problems. I do think, although Mbappe Mbappe and Ousmane Dembele will cause our fullbacks a lot of problems. I do think it, will cause the defence a lot of problems as well. But yeah, France would 100% beat England, I think. But you never know. England, we beat Germany in the Euros. Yeah, I don't trust a USA investment group, whether short term or long term, have to think about the money making ambition overall. I agree. I agree as well. I want someone that has money for United, but also wants them to do well as well. And so I think England can get Hugo Lloris Barthez because he's not that good of a goalkeeper. Yeah, I think we can cause some problems. I think France's weakness is defence, but they're so good in attack. And the thing about England is England don't play attacking football. So although France's weakness, I'd say, is their defence, England is so fucking boring and reservative that England probably won't even bother attacking France's defence, which is their weak point. So, we've got to beat Senegal first. I feel like we are talking a lot as if we'll beat Senegal, and I think we all assume we will beat Senegal, and I think we're all quite confident going into the Senegal game. But this is England, this is Southgate, and this is the World Cup, baby, and anything can happen. And I feel confident that England will win, but not confident enough to go and put some money on it or anything like that. To be fair, I never do football betting because I support United, and if I bet on United to win, they just won't win. I feel like I'll be cursed. But I really hope England win today. I really, really hope England win today. In fact, France are experienced in the World Cup. They've won it before as well. It's like Real Madrid. Even though Real Madrid weren't at their best when they won the Champions League, Liverpool arguably just won 2 trophies, were 1 point off winning the Premier League title. Liverpool weren't at their best, but they still but Real Madrid beat them. Sorry, Liverpool were at their best and Real Madrid weren't at their best. If you compared the Real Madrid team of last year compared to when Ronaldo was there, that wasn't the best Real Madrid side, and that was Liverpool's best ever side. But Real Madrid beat Liverpool to the Champions League because I feel Real Madrid had the experience on the day. I think Liverpool were the best side, Liverpool had the better players, but Real Madrid won the Champions League because of that experience. And I think this isn't France's best team. They haven't got Paul Pogba. Rabiot is starting. They are missing a few people, but France, very experienced, they know how to win, and I think that's something England will struggle with. England know how to bottle it, France know how to win as well. If Apple take over United, will they change the cup to United? Probably not, but I think Trafford could become a thing, which I think sounds cool. Like, I love Old Trafford, but I feel Trafford does sound kind of cool. And England's better than all the teams in the World Cup. My concern is Ollie Southgate. I wouldn't say England are better than all the teams, but my main concern with you is Ollie Southgate as well. And we never know about, but think England winning. I'd love England to win. Although a lot of people ask me this question. I'm going to ask you guys this question. Actually, we're going to do a poll in the chat. Because I've never seen England win the World Cup, but I have seen Man United, lift the Champions League, and I have seen Man United lift the Premier League before as well. And I always get asked the question, would I rather England win the World Cup, or would I rather Man United win the Champions League or Premier League again? And if I'm being honest, I'd still rather Man United win the Champions League or Premier League again, because I just love, club football more. What would you rather? But I think that's an unpopular opinion, that I'd rather Man United win a Champions League than England win the World Cup. I think that's a really unpopular opinion. But I'm going to ask you guys down below. I'm going to do a poll. Man United to win UCL or England to win World Cup. And if you don't support England, then your country to win the World Cup. So if you don't support England, I should have put your country to win the World Cup. Would you A, your country win the World Cup, or B, Man United win the UCL? Assuming that you guys support Man United and England, answer the poll. But for me, it's club over country. I think I'm very much with that. IQ says he barely even watches international football. And if England lose today, we have Rashford, Shaw and Harry back. Good point. The thing is, at the end of the day, I want the Man United players to do well in the World Cup, and I'm rooting for all the Manchester United players in the World Cup. But then, at the same time, if Man United do lose, and if we do have so if England do lose, or if the Man United players play for countries that do lose, they go back earlier. And it's I want the Man United players to do really well in the World Cup. I'm loving that the Man United players are doing well in the World Cup. But on the upside, if the Man United players don't do well in the World Cup, it means they're back earlier, they're fitter, they're more prepared for the season. At the end of the day, my priority is how they do for United, not how they do for their international club as well. United all day, I don't bother with England being a Brit. I think I thought it was an unpopular opinion, but I'm very much club over country as well. But look, people, we are going to wrap up the live stream in a minute. We're just going to do a summary of the news. So any questions for me, pop them in the chat as well. I'm just trying to see if any news is coming out. just all about Rashford being dropped as well. Mbappe, man, he is so good. I'd love Mbappe at Manchester United. He is an absolutely crazy talent. But to wrap up today's video, we obviously spoke about the Gakpo and Joao Felix news. We touched upon new owners towards the end of the video. We spoke about the Sancho situation. And a lot of today's video has been World Cup focused, which I hope you guys enjoyed. I haven't spoke loads about the World Cup on the channel, but I thought it would be quite good to have a video where we do talk about the World Cup and everything going around the World Cup. So make sure you smash that like button and subscribe down below if you're new. But also check out the OneFootball app, people. Before you leave the live stream, there's a link pinned in the chat, and there'll be a link at the top of the description to check out the OneFootball app. It's completely free, and you've got your OneFootball, news here. Everything about England, everything about France is all here as well. World Cup, Premier League, La Liga. You've got all your news sections, and again, if you click on the Man United section, it will update you on the news as well regarding Manchester United. So smash a like, smash a subscribe. Big up everyone for tuning in. Take care. And yeah, I will be back tomorrow morning with a video. I might do a shorts video for the World Cup. There might be an England reaction out tonight on the channel as well. So there could be an England reaction out tonight, and there should be a video tomorrow morning on all the latest news. So see you then, and bye.